Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone. This is the Tardis Zone Talks. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. And as you can see, scrolling on the bottom of your screen is the new weekly schedule for the Tardis Zone. I have finally sorted it all out. So let's get into this and tell you what we have going on every Monday to Friday on the Tardis Zone. So on Mondays, we will have the Tardis Zone talk, the Tardis Zone discussion, where myself, PD Rich, and Queen Charlotte will be talking about Doctor Who and other stuff, but mostly Doctor Who on that one. Then on Tuesdays, from now on, it'll be Tuesdays, we will have the Tardis Zone Talks with Christian from the Legend of the Travelling TARDIS. So we have shifted that to Tuesday, and I want to thank Christian personally for agreeing to switch it around. On Wednesday, then, we have the Chill stream with Queen Charlotte and PD Rich, where we'll be talking about random topics. And then Friday, we have the Friday Night Contact Preview members stream. They are in the afternoons, and times will vary with that one. And then every Friday, 9 o'clock in the evening, we have Friday Night Contact with me co-hosts, where we'll be discussing things all Hollywood. So that is the new roster, and that will be the new roster moving forward, guys. It was just getting a bit ragged there. I needed to move certain things around, spread them out a little bit. We still have the two streams on the Friday though, but that can't be helped. But we've got a stream now nearly every day of the week, which is something that we try to do on this channel. But I've got a couple of days off, so that's good. Got to keep the missus happy, as you know. So yeah, so that's the new schedule anyway. Right now, actually, on the Doctor Who official YouTube channel, they are showing the best bits to Series 1 right now. I was actually watching, believe it or not. There was 850 people watching live with an account that has 1.2 million people. I don't know if that's an indicator of whether things are good or bad. But they're doing their best bits for Series 1. So I think this is a thing that they're going to be doing leading up to the 60th anniversary, is doing the best bits of the RTD era. And talking about best bits and talking about reliving the RTD era, my co-host Christian on his channel is actually in the process of reviewing the RTD era as we speak on his channel, because as you know, RTD has returned to Doctor Who, so there's a lot of focus on his previous Doctor Who stuff. But let's bring him on. But it's good to see that the BBC Doctor Who YouTube channel is actually, showing some decent Doctor Who stuff.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry, but it's probably the first time in years where that channel's actually got some good, decent content to throw up on it. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see. But I reckon, you got the competition going on in Blue Peter. You've got this stuff happening on YouTube. Remember, we're supposed to be getting classic stories. They didn't say whether they were releasing them on TV or not, but I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be for TV. but we're supposed to be getting colorized versions of classic Doctor Who stories as well, all in the name and the celebration of the 60th anniversary. And the latest copy of Doctor Who magazine, obviously, was just recently released. Yasmin Finney is on the cover of the magazine, but there's a lot of stuff that in this issue, Christian, of the Doctor Who magazine. I don't know if you've been aware of it, but I'll make you aware of it now. Caused a little bit of controversy. A couple of days before the magazine is released, you get some media outlets and Twitter accounts claiming that Yasmin Finney was actually playing Rose Tyler, which is not true, by the way.
No. The media the media just like sticking their foot into it. I'm just
well, I mean, it's the very same media last year, because I showed it on the channel. The very same media that are reporting that Yasmin Finney is Rose Tyler are the very same media that reported that she was playing Rose Temple Noble. Mm-hmm. So, as I've said, the media have lost credibility, I mean, for years now, especially with Doctor Who. But the controversial thing, though, in the magazine is, I don't know if you've seen this or whether you purchased the Doctor Who magazine, but it has got fans talking. And
I haven't purchased it in a long time. I've been watching stuff as people have been talking about it.
It's this pandering that I don't like. But the latest thing is this, Christian. Now, you tell me where the logic is behind this, because I've tried to... Because I'm watching, actually, Peter Capaldi's era now with Clara at the moment. But apparently, according to the Doctor Who magazine, it's canon now, because it was written in the magazine, apparently. And the funny thing is, we don't know who wrote this. But apparently, Clara Oswald is now bisexual.
Okay, why? Yeah. Is there a really good story behind the reason why she had to do this?
Exactly. And that's where I go with this, right? Look, I don't give two shits whether she was bi or not. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at what we've watched on the show, there's nothing to indicate to me that she was bisexual. She was with Danny Pink after all. And some of the shippers, the Peter Capaldi, Jenna Coleman shippers, would even say that Clara was in love with Peter Capaldi. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that take, but again...
She was in love with the Doctor. I think she did have a fascination with the Doctor because she wanted to be more and more like him.
Exactly.
That's what she was doing. She even took the name a couple of times, and at the end, what was it, Darkwater? I'm the Doctor. You know, she said it a few times, and even 12 was going like, don't you dare. So I think she had a fascination. Whether that's construed as love, no, there was no like hanky-panky between the two of them of that nature.
Yeah.
Nothing like on the scale of like Dalek Clara and Snowman.
Sure, Danny was the love of her life. I mean, there was that whole Inception rip-off episode where she doesn't want to live because she's with Danny again. I mean, Look, I don't care. See, this is the thing. I don't care. If you want to bring in a character that's bisexual, by all means do that. If you want to bring in a lesbian character, by all means do that. Gay, so on. Right? But when you've got already established characters and then you're trying to tell the audience, oh, by the way, she isn't just into men. You mightn't have seen it, but she also is into women. Right? Because there was a line here, and we're going to drag this line out now, and we're going to clutch at straws, but she's bisexual. She's not bisexual. She was never bisexual. Oswin wasn't bisexual. How many versions of Clara was there? There was Souffle Girl. She definitely wasn't bisexual. Right? She was even flirting with the Doctor. She was flirting with Rory. There is nothing. Listen, this is why I hate these new fans as well. Right, because they're jumping on board with it now, and apparently I'm homophobic for pointing out the fact that Clara isn't bisexual and actually likes penises. Right? I don't care if it sounds harsh. That's the bottom line. I'm sick of all of this nonsense now. Right? As I said, if you want to create characters that are bisexual and blah blah blah, race swap them or do whatever nonsense you want to do, right? Create new roles is what I say. right? Stop taking already established characters, right? It doesn't work, right? The audience is telling you that it doesn't work, and you're still not listening, and you're still pandering. She's not bisexual, and I'm not homophobic for pointing her out. It's a fact. She's not bisexual. You have no evidence to back you up. If anything, we've got the evidence to show that that she likes men. And I don't know what this fascination is, especially with newer fans and the media out there. I'll call it out. You seem to have a problem with men and women being in relationships with each other, right? You seem to want to erase those type of couples, but you want to push these other sort of couples, which I've no problem with if you want to push those other sort of couples as well. But there's nothing wrong with a man being with a woman, okay? But there seems to be in today's society, that seems to be an issue, right? There is no issue with that. And it shouldn't be made an issue out of. And you shouldn't erase someone's sexuality because somehow there's some people out there that may be ashamed of it. I don't know what it is, right? But you just want to leave it out, right? Gay people and lesbian people had to go through this for decades, right? Where people frowned upon them because they decided that they were attracted to the same sex. Now they've come a long way, and now especially in my country, you can get married and all. There's not even an issue, right? This is a Catholic country, all right.
Well, it was just it's been this long way to answer to challenge the people who come up with this idea of we're going to do this because of this. You know, if you're just doing things for change's sake, then what's the point? I mean, you know,
and I don't want to drag you into this because I know you don't like getting involved in conversations like this because you like to have you like your channel to have different points of view, and I try to do it on here as well. But I'm going to call this out because it does need to be called out.
This is not a challenge to things that. When I say things that are moving the story forward or moving the character forward, it's just like, well, now she's this. I'm like, why? You just hit them with the why.
Yeah.
And if it's nothing to do with the story or moving this character forward, then you hit them with, well, then I'm not with you.
Then you're wasting your time, aren't you? You're actually wasting your time. You're wasting the audience time.
When we came up, when Jodie Whittaker was introduced as Dr. 13. One of the claims that we came up with was that at the time, this is pre-timeless child crap.
Yeah.
We came up with the idea that because the Time Lords didn't, that the 13 lives were all the men up until Matt Smith. We don't know what the Time Lords gave him at the time. So he could have gotten female and other things along the way as far as we have the three different versions of Time Lords, Time Ladies, Time Tots. And those are pretty much canon from what I understand. And I even said that maybe going down the line, if this show is going to survive me, then maybe a female taking on the role is not out of the realm of a possibility. I even mentioned
that. It's not if it makes, but again, because you brought this point up many a time, and I think it is a great point, though.
Yeah,
okay. You want to bring in a female doctor, okay, but you've got to make it. You have to make it make sense within the story and the narrative of the show, which they didn't do with Jodie Whittaker, and I think that was the biggest failure of actually the Chris Chibnall era. It should be explained how all of
just make it make sense to me, and I don't mind.
Exactly. Now you mightn't have liked like you liked her. I didn't. Now I mightn't have liked her.
I didn't say that.
but I mean, you think she would have worked at the doctor if she had someone else running the show?
If she had somebody capable of running her.
Yeah.
And if somebody gave her the directions from things that I've seen in her in other venues, in other movies and TV shows, and focused that and made it part of the doctor, I could see her doing it. She's got the potential because I've seen it. They didn't execute it. They made her into the scrunchy face woman, and I don't know.
Chris Chibnall didn't know how to write a female doctor. That was the problem. But see, again, you've got all of these things. If you're going to do something like that, I don't care. Some people are happy with the fact that he didn't explain it and he just carried on as if it wasn't a big deal. But it was a big deal. If you're going to change a character that's for over half a century is male, and then you just change it on whatever Chris Chibnall's reasons were. I don't care. But if you're going to change it, by God, you've got to make it make sense to the audience that have been watching half a century, those fans that have been watching a long time, and then of course, as the show has went on, it's garnered new fans along the way. You've got to explain that stuff. Right. That stuff, you can't just sweep that under the carpet.
No, give me
the whole thing.
Give me a second. I'm going to go leave and come back in. I just want to see if this is correct. I just want to see if PD's right about this, because this happened once and I did this. And
it's on StreamYard. I could see it on StreamYard. We could both see it on StreamYard.
But he's saying it's not on
YouTube.
I bet she's on YouTube, and this happened before. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second.
Right, go ahead. And that's the point I'm making. You got to make these things make sense. So when I see someone in the Doctor Who magazine, and the funny thing is, I don't know who wrote that little piece about Clara, right? But these people that there's still people within that Doctor Who magazine that I don't know what pops into their head or how they come up with these ideas, right? But when you see characters being their sexuality or their skin color being needlessly changed in the goal of inclusion and diversity, I'm sorry, I'll say it again, it's lazy. Michelle Rodriguez from the Fast and the Furious franchise was seen coming out of a nightclub. Now, in fairness, she was a bit tipsy and she had a bit to drink. And a fan asked her about the current ideology that's going on in Hollywood. And I'll show you the clip later on Friday Night Contact. It's from TMZ, right? But she says it. She's sick and tired of the superficial nature of all of this diversity and inclusion. She says that the best way to go about is what we've been saying and everybody else has been saying out there. There is plenty of different cultures out there that we could explore and stories that we could tell. But Hollywood wants to take the easy route and the lazy route, which is getting already established characters and either gender swapping them or race swapping them instead of creating new content for them. And this is why we have to call out Hollywood. It's disgusting. It's the lazy way. It's basically like when you were kids, when we grew up, we were handed hand-me-downs if the parents couldn't afford to dress us, other people would give you clothes, and they're called hand-me-downs, right? This is the same thing that's happening in Hollywood right now. Hand-me-down roles given to people that are probably talented, more talented than what they're being portrayed on screen, because they have to go along with all of this nonsense. You can create new content. Anyway, let's see if Christian's avatar is sorted. So if people could tell me if Christian's avatar is sorted on YouTube, that would be absolutely fantastic.
Well, I'm pulling up the hang on a second. I'm pulling up I mean, it's not a big deal. I would love the avatar to be up, but I mean,
no, it should be. It should be up there. You're right, because it's a promotion as well, and I know you don't come on here for that, but at the end of the day, even when I'm being brought on as a guest as well, it's promotion. You're promoting your channel, and there's nothing wrong with that.
There you go. Get another like. I'm just waiting for commercials to end so I can see if it came
brilliant. Hollywood is so lazy. They're just all on strike. I know, PD. And this is why I said a few weeks ago, you remember on Friday Night Contact when you were on?
Awesome.
It's like the cheek of those people to go on strike when they've been giving us mediocre crap for what? At least 7 years and anyway. And I'm being generous, by the way, with the 7 years. It's probably longer. And now they're on strike and these actors are going on strike with them. I mean, the cheek of them. Well, listen, bottom line is, if you were giving us something decent, I'd be all behind you. I'd support you 100% for better pay and better working conditions and stuff. But you don't deserve it when you have been producing the crap that you have been producing. I'm sorry, but I have no listen. I have sympathy for anybody that goes on strike, right? Normally, but with these writers and actors, I have no sympathy at all. I mean, those actors as well, right? I find it ironic, right? They know they're being handed shite scripts. But you see, to them, the bottom line is getting paid. It's getting that paycheck. So they don't care, you know? They don't care. Going out on strike is just to make them look better in front of their peers' eyes. They don't really want to be going on strike. They don't really want to be going on strike. So don't be buying into all of this. Hollywood is a cesspit. Hollywood needs to sort itself out. And we need better talent coming through as well. But I'm just sick of this. They've done it with Star Wars, with character sexuality. Now Doctor Who, or whoever wrote that little snuff piece in the Doctor Who magazine, is copying what the Star Wars crew did when they gave everybody pronouns and all of that other nonsense. I mean, leave it out. As I said, if you create brand new characters and stuff like that, nobody can really argue because you're creating brand new content. See, this is the thing. You give out to us for giving out. Well, you could easily sort this by creating new content. And trust me, it won't be the type of stuff we watch, but you say it's popular. So if it's that popular, take the risk and make content like that and put it out there and see what happens. Because we've already seen what happens when you put content out there like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work and it isn't successful. Because the thing about it is, all the audience wants at the end of the day is to be entertained. They don't care what someone's pronouns are, whether they're transgender, gay, straight, lesbian, boy. They don't give a crap about that. All they give a crap about is the story's good and are the characters being developed well. That's all we care about. Hollywood is obsessed with all of this nonsense, right? BBC over the last few years is seeing them obsessed as well. It just needs to stop. We just want good entertainment. I'm not even asking for much as a Doctor Who fan. Jesus Christ, the 2005 era is not long ago. If you get Doctor Who even at that level, right? It's good Doctor Who, isn't it?
Well, speak for yourself. I want good content.
That was impossible to get. They've already proven that they could do Doctor Who well. So come on, just leave it out.
I wouldn't let down the demand for it. I mean, you have an IP that's been around for 60 plus odd years. It's probably going to go even further at this point. And you are in a position where you stand on the shoulders of Douglas Adams, you stand on the shoulders of Terrence Dicks, you stand on the shoulders of all these writers and all these talented people, and you bring in Orphan 55 to the table. And I'm like, no, get it out. It is laughing at my Doctor Who and making it feel bad about it.
You know what? Even the most hardened Jodie Whittaker fan hates that episode as well. I mean, Orphan 55. I mean, do you know what was funny about that though? Not the fact that Orphan 55 is probably one of the worst Doctor Who episodes ever written, but the fact that Chris Chibnall thought he was good enough to bring the same bloke back. I mean, you bring back the bloke that wrote the worst episode. See, this is the difference between me and you, Christian, if we were showrunners, right?
Mm-hmm.
That script would never have made it anywhere near a set for the actors to act out. That script would have been ripped up and burned. It would never have seen the light of day. But Chibs accepted stuff like that as well. And again, we got to go back to him. He's the main culprit here because the book lies with him. Orphan 55 is god off. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, that's
that's not the only one, but that one just happened to be the turd right in the shepherd's pie.
Oh, what was that other one? The conundrum or
I know what you're talking about.
That was bloody awful as well.
They just basically took Stitch and just said, "Hey, we'll make him into an enemy." I'm like, what? Okay, I understand people's got to try, but this is not the proving ground to try things. This is where you excel to do things better. This is where you move up to. This is not a proving ground.
No.
This is where you need to have the skills to show, hey, I wrote this episode or I wrote that episode. Or like I said, you are on the shoulders of some really great writers, directors, producers who really took their stuff and to this day people still watch this stuff because
there's a legacy there. You've got to respect this, so you shouldn't be handing in mediocre shite. I mean, look, we get it. Sometimes an episode might slip through. I mean, a couple of, Chris Chibnall during the RTD era. Was it RTD's era? No, yeah, it was. 42, the one with the bleeding fucking Martha, where he had to answer all the questions. Do you remember?
Oh, you mean the MacGuffin that took the ship and then added
another
20 minutes to it? I'm like, what?
Bloody,
Hell?
That seeped into an RTD era, and that was Chris Chibnall, but apparently the script was so bad that RTD had actually made changes to Chris Chibnall. So that script is not actually pure Chris Chibnall. That is like after RTD has put in something that's worth trying to bleed and watch on it. That's one of the worst bleeding episodes. I mean, guy that they got to run Dr. Hill.
Well, if you look really into that episode, you can tell Chibnall's good at drama writing. And I think this is across the board for everybody. He needs to write Broadchurches. He doesn't have any business going to Doctor Who.
No.
He's a good drama writer.
But the episode exposed his biggest weakness, and that was the fact
he throws
that
MacGuffins
he didn't know how to move the plot along. So he used this countdown clock thing and the questions as a way to move, because he's incapable. We've seen the Jordan Whittaker's era as well. He's incapable. He needs those little gimmicks to help move it along. Broadchurch is his thing, and that's where he should stick to, doing cop stuff. Again, though, Piers Wenger and co thought he was the right man to move the show forward. Or was it all a ploy in the first place? Because remember, Stephen Moffat got him drunk. Maybe it was a ploy in the first place. Bring Chibs in, he destroys the show. We come back as saviors. Blah 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 blah. Or maybe it was deliberately done by the BBC to destroy the show and then to kind of start from fresh again. Maybe what this 60th anniversary is a bit of a reset, and then they can start off with a new, fresh. That way, then you're not disrespecting Jodie's era or the eras that came before. You're just basically doing what RTD done in 2005, which is a kind of a soft reboot or a reboot or whatever you want to call it. An episode of Ancient Aliens makes more sense compared to season 11 to 13. Yeah, but you know what? That Ancient Aliens show is probably one of the most laughable shows on TV, right? But when you watch an episode of that, I don't care what it's all complete bull, or there might be something to some of it, right? But most of it is complete bull. But are you sitting down compelled and you're listening intently, and like you're really into it, like that's the difference, right? I'd watch Ancient Aliens over season 11 to 13. Got to be honest. Well, being honest, I'd probably give Flux another go, because that had potential, but I want to watch Flux on my own again. It's the only series that I actually want to watch again. But I want to try Flux out again, because I want to see if it's as good or as bad. Because we were pretty okay. We were pretty nice about Flux, I have to be honest. We weren't as critical about Flux as we were about the other two seasons, but Flux had a lot of problems.
Flux was a problem.
Flux, yeah, it is. The whole season itself is a clusterfuck, because he ruined so much in that. But there were interesting characters in it, and there were interesting plot threads that never really went anywhere. But I just want to watch it again to see if it's as bad before I watch Power of the Doctor again. It'll be the last time I watch the Jodie Whittaker era. But I do that to kind of refresh my memory, because we know we got the 60th coming up now. Now the 60th has David Tennant. But I just want to remind myself of the Whittaker era, just in case there is anything in the RTD era that kind of alludes to it in any way, whether it's going to retcon or he's going to include whatever he does. That's what I'm interested in. So that's why I'll watch it again. The PD says he's addicted to it. I heard Chibnall couldn't write season 2 and 3 well because he ran out of source material by the end of series 1 of Broadchurch. Well, series 1 is based off the book, I think, yeah. So we have plenty of source material there. But you are right. As soon as you got to series 2 and 3, so look at Jodie Whittaker's character even in that, right? Jodie Whittaker's character in that completely goes off the rails, and then by season 3, then she's a counselor. Makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It absolutely makes no sense. Watch that again, right? He even ruins Whittaker in that.
I don't want to watch it again.
Right? He even ruins Whittaker in that, and the scene that he chickened out of, which I thought would have been one of the best episode endings. And one of his best episodes is when the father in season 2 went out on the boat and we all thought he was going to off himself, right? And what happens? He leaves at a cliffhanger, right, where your man gets into the water. So we're all assuming, because the slow music comes in, so we're all assuming that he's at the offing himself, and it would have been very sad and had a huge impact. But then next week we find out your man chickens out, and it completely ruins that moment. Chibs is only great when he sticks to the source material, because again, he done a movie called United about Manchester United. Now, if you aren't into sports movies, right? If you want an emotional movie, and you get your hankies ready, right? Because it is an emotional movie. It's about the Munich air disaster, where we lost a lot of players and the media and families in a plane crash in Germany, right? And he has to stick to the source material to that, right? And David Tennant is in it, right? He plays Jimmy Murphy, right? I'm not telling you a word of a lie. That, to me, is the best thing that Chris Chibnall has ever done, by the way. But again, Chris Chibnall is one of these writers. He has to have source material. If he doesn't have the source material, if you get Chris Chibnall come up with ideas by himself, you get series 11 to 13. That's what you get. And it's a disjointed mess. Every season is a disjointed mess. He cannot lay out a plan. He might have things in his head, and it might sound good in his head, but when he tries to translate it onto paper, which he tried to do, it just doesn't work, because he needs that source material. So he's one of them.
Hey, Bobby.
J.J. Abrams, in fairness, of BBC, because Chibs will never get into Hollywood. But the thing about it is, that's Chibs wrapped up in a nutshell. He needs source material. He was never the right writer or showrunner for Doctor Who, to be quite honest with you. You know, even if you look at his scripts that he wrote, you had the Silurian Double, you had the Power of Three, you had Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, and you had 42, right? Out of all of them, I'd say the Power of Three is probably the strongest one, but even at the end of that one, he messes that one up as well, right? That episode should have been a lot better than what it was. It was actually an interesting concept, interesting episode, but that episode fell flat, in my opinion. And you look at the rest of them, they're not good enough. So that's who BBC, Piers Wenger, and Stephen Moffat, and whoever else convinced them to take it, the job. So to me, I don't know, I'm starting to think there was some sort of sabotage, because how you think he was the right one when you could have brought in someone like Charlie Brooker, who was available at the time, the guy that's behind Black Mirror, right? You could have brought him in. Could you imagine? Or Neil Gaiman, you could have brought him in, but I suppose he's tied up with his other shows. But he was available at the time, I think. You could have got him in. You could have got Toby Whithouse in, you know? Yeah, but you didn't go with him either. So,
hell, didn't the guy from Babylon 5 want to do this? I would have accepted.
Yeah.
The guy from Babylon who did Babylon 5.
Well, he's bringing back, yeah. And I think the fact that, you know, it never went well for him is why he's doing all these Babylon stuff, Babylon 5 stuff now, which is great to see. You know, so maybe that was the kick up the backside he needed to get his own projects up and running again. But you never know. Maybe, you know, it's RTD. You know, RTD, who would have known who else was in the running for this job. And we all know what RTD is like. You know, he'll bring in he'll bring in guest writers, and I'm pretty sure, you never know, Michael Straczynski, wherever his name is. I can never say his second name properly. Sorry, bad, Michael. I do apologise. But you never know. You could get him on as a guest writer. So we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I didn't get to follow up on one of the things that we got to, and I know you want to move on a little bit there, but I mean, it to me, it's no different when they change the characteristics of a character for just reasons, just nothing else. And I was watching a comedian on a video, and he goes, there are these other, especially this month, he goes, there's these guys, pushing in, and how they separate us, like a Black History Month, Asian History Month, and all, and so on. And he goes, I said, this is Asian History Month. We still got 5 days left. Knock it off, people. It's not June yet. Leave us alone. We still got 5 days.
Listen, that whole thing is going to be a year. All that rainbow nonsense
I know,
is going to be a year.
But it's just like when we started having issues and they started announcing it, it's like, well, nobody's really celebrating our month. It's like, oh,
listen, if you're not a rainbow warrior, mate, right? They don't give a feck about Black History Month. They don't give a feck about all of these other stuff that they should be worried about. A small minority of the whole population somehow has most power and is the most fucking protected group or minority on this planet. Listen, it was a week in June, right? Lee told me at one stage it was a day, right? Then it was a week, no problem, right? You want to do a week, that's great. Now it's a whole month of June. Wait, you see, within 2 to 3 years, it'll be a whole year. Should they bang on about it all year round? Anyway, it's only the natural progression. It'll be all year. And I'm just sick and tired of it all. At the end, they go and live our lives. Nobody gives a flying feck whether you are all of this, right? Do whatever you want, but leave the rest of us alone, man. Their national flags are being replaced by them. I'm sorry, but the national flag, people died for the national flag. It shouldn't be replaced by a flag of a certain minority group, right? I'm sick of it, right? Well, just leave it bleeding out.
The point I was getting to is like, well, what if I demand and said, I want Claire to come back as Asian? Makes as much sense. It's like, there's nothing moving this point. And I said, well, I need to see more Asians. I said, no, I don't. I've got my whole life looking at characters that look nothing like me. The only thing that
and there's nothing wrong with having more inclusion in that way. But as
I'm not even downing that. But like, yeah, I do want more Asians out there, doing.
But you would like stories to be told. Exactly. But wouldn't it be nice to have stories from Asian culture to be told by Asian people? If you want to do diversity properly and inclusion properly, that's how you do it. You go out and you look for these new stories. There's plenty of. Listen. It's bleeding planet Earth. Humans, we've got this rich, diverse culture, different. You know what I mean? The billions of people on the planet, right? Well, different cultures out there, different diversities, all of that, right? We could tap into so much, man. And yet they want to take the lazy way.
I forgot if it was a panel or if I was chatting with somebody, but I was mentioning like there's no real Asian representation. He goes, well, you got the Sea Devils. And I was like, that's not Asian representation. I said, that is nothing. It's like, okay, we have a few Asians in there, but I'm just like, I was more concentrated on the Sea Devils. I was like, no, they can jump across a plane of land into a boat. And I was like, well, I remember John Pertwee's Sea Devils. They could barely get out of the water without being sloshed around. Now they can just leap like like Peter Pan and make it across to the boat.
I didn't. I did like the Sea Devil redesign. The Legend of the Sea Devils was another disappointment, but I don't know what the crap was with those cyber swords that they had either. And also, that leaping business was a bit too much for me. If he had knocked that nonsense out, the leaping, But what?
There was a monster that leaped out. This huge monster leaped out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again. I'm like, was that the Merca? Is that an upgraded Merca? Well,
Yeah.
never saw that monster. Like, what the heck is this?
I don't even know what Legend of the Sea Devils was supposed to be
I don't
quite
either.
honest with you. It just didn't make any sense. And then, do you know what was the funniest though? When Jodie Whittaker and Amanda Gill came out in an interview and said, for the sword fight, we didn't do any training. And it was like, when we seen it in the episode, it showed. It actually showed. You didn't get any. No, I mean, it wasn't the worst. I even said at the time, look, it's not the worst sword fight that I've ever seen. But I mean, Jesus Christ, man, Chibs. I mean, that's your job to make sure that the actors and actresses are all trained in some basic sword fighting to make it look at least compelling. But I mean, even the sword fight was quite flat. I don't know what that episode was. It supposed to be a rip off of Pirates of the Caribbean with feckin' sea devils? Because I don't know what it was supposed to be. Do you know what the most interesting thing was? Your man that did that shanty tune for Legends of the Sea Devils, right? He did a shanty tune for it, and that was the best thing about that whole thing, because BBC actually put it up on their official site, and it was the only thing that was decent, and I was actually disappointed he didn't have that song in the episode itself. But that was the only thing that I can remember for Legends of the Sea Devils, is the actual song that had nothing to do with the episode.
I could understand in the fight scene if Yaz didn't know how to sword fight. She's a police officer. I don't think they teach sword fighting in there, and she was goofing around.
Jodie's doctor should know, because David Tennant's doctor did sword fighting. Remember in the Christmas Invasion?
Hell, I think Tom Baker, John Pertwee, if I'm not
mistaken. The classic doctors did as well, but in New Who, we're just going by New Who. David Tennant's doctor picked
Peter
up the sword as well.
Sword fighted. I think he did in one episode, didn't he? No, I'm trying to think. Was it Black Orchid? I'm trying to remember. I could swear one episode he fought. It doesn't matter. I mean, you've been around the universe.
They have experience, yes.
Yes, you have experience. It's kind of like when the 12th Doctor picks up the guitar and all of a sudden he knows how to play the guitar. It's just like, do they?
Because he has experience. It makes But
do they lose and pick up experiences along the way when they regenerate? I'm just like, what is this? So,
but yeah, I mean, look, it's funny to reminisce. I have to be honest, though. It's been a long time since I've actually just got bogged down on the Whittaker era, but it'll be one of those eras in time. I think a lot of people that didn't speak up against it or sat on the fence will eventually give their opinion.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think this is going to end up being another Matthew Jacobs, where time is going to heal this wound, and we're probably even going to forgive Chibs, and we're just going to pass on to it? We're just going to let it.
Ooh.
Do you think we'll? Well,
I'll never forgive Chibs. I can't speak for the fandom, but I can speak for myself. I'll never forgive Chibs. No, I don't. To me, this era, I'm just going to be honest, is an abomination. It shouldn't exist. There was no need for Chibs to make the decisions that he made. He pushed Peter Capaldi out, and I think that's unforgivable. It's like with Henry Cavill and DC at the moment. There's a lot of fans out there that won't forgive DC or James Gunn because they got rid of Henry Cavill. And I'm the same here. I'll never forgive him for his treatment of Peter Capaldi, because I remember when Chibs was announced, Capaldi came out and said he couldn't wait to work with him on Doctor Who because he'd worked with him on Torchwood. And then within 6 weeks of that announcement, Peter Capaldi, all upset, is on a BBC Radio 1 show pouring his heart out, saying that he's leaving Doctor Who. He was pushed out, and I'll never forgive Chibs for that. Even for that alone, right?
Do you think Chibs pushed him out?
Yeah, Chibs did push him out.
I'm more inclined to think the BBC had a hand in that.
No. Chibs, if you look at Chibs' interviews, even at the start, he contradicts himself.
Well, we did have that one article that came from the BBC that, when they were critiquing Peter Capaldi, they were saying good, pretty much. I forgot who the writer was, and I did have the article for a while, but she was saying good riddance. It was getting old, and I'm like, that's what Doctor Who was. It wasn't old and tiring. It was exciting, and we did this with old guys.
Yeah. I think the reason why I don't really trust what comes out of his mouth either is the fact that in his very first article when he announced that he was the new showrunner, he did an interview where he stated he didn't like the Daleks, he didn't like the Cybermen. He has his own vision and ideas for Doctor Who, and he would like to cast a woman in the role. But then when it came to his second interview, and it was the one shortly after Jodie was actually announced, then he comes out and says, well, we did audition men, but I went with Jodie Whittaker. He never auditioned men for Doctor Who, because here's the thing, right? And it'll be the same with the RTD era, because someone brought it up in the chat just there. With every showrunner, we have kind of heard who the potential Doctor could have been, or who just missed out, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, we do know that Olivia Colman turned down the role for Doctor Who, and that's why it went to Jodie Whittaker. But who are these men that Chris Chibnall apparently auditioned? Because no names have ever came forward, but yeah,
that's a good point.
Even with RTD's era, right, we even heard Shooty wasn't the first choice originally. He had someone else cast, but then Shooty came in the last audition and they went with Shooty. Now, as for the other person that came second in the audition, who originally got it, I don't think we're going to find out who that person is, because I reckon this is what's going to happen. Shooty will play the Doctor, but I don't think Shooty... listen, there's lots of rumours he's not going to be long-term, and I think that may be true. And I think the guy that originally RTD was going to cast will probably then take over, because that happened during his era as well. I think, if I'm correct in saying, someone auditioned for Doctor Who, and they got it. They went in for a certain role, and then they ended up getting it there. We always hear who was the unlucky ones. But have you noticed under Chris Chibnall, we've never heard of those names. It's all been women, by the way. Oh, this is who might have been in the running. But we've never heard any blokes' names come to the surface. I wonder why that is. Because I'll tell you why. He never auditioned for any men, right? When he couldn't get Olivia Colman, who he really wanted, he said, well, what other actress have I worked with, right? And there's only one that stands out.
Well, that was Jodie Whittaker. First of all, I think I'm now calling it the 3-year curse, because that was something that Troughton started, and it seems like every Doctor. And if you notice, any actor who's come into the role, that includes Colin Baker and Peter Capaldi, who say, I'll run this thing as long as I can. I want to be the longest running Doctor. They not only don't get to be the longest running Doctor, they actually are unceremoniously kicked out.
I'm going to be honest, though. I don't think Shooty would want that, though. And I think a lot of people say...
That's the point. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They're running for 3 years, and then that's it. And then they don't want to be typecast. But you had two actors. You had Colin Baker openly admitted he wanted to be the longest serving Doctor. You had Peter Capaldi even saying the same thing. He wanted to run this. I forgot exactly, but he did want to.
No, he did. He wanted. Yeah, he wanted.
Both of them were unceremoniously kicked out.
Yeah. So but you see, the difference is, though, even if Shooty is, we don't know what his contract is for. This is the first time we don't know if he has been given 3 years. But you see, again, I don't think Shooty's the kind of actor that'll stick around for 3 years either. I think he'll want to do other stuff. So I reckon, 1 or 2 seasons the most, and I think he'll be gone. To be quite honest with you, I don't think he will do 3. I think
I'm not putting this on Shooty, but if he wants to leave after, I think we're just getting to the point where this is now acceptance, as meaning that we know that they're going to run about 2 to 3 years. That kind of seems to be the running course. So if he wants to move on, or he gets a better deal, if God forbid he ends up, ending up being in the next Marvel movie, and more power to him. I can't blame them. But now that there's Sony money involved, I don't think that's going to be an easy.
Well, here's the thing as well. We've got to think, right? Because we don't know what he's going to do with RTD. We don't know what he's going to do with if there's going to be any connection to the Whittaker era. Because remember, there is a way that he could explain the fact shoot he's got and have all of these. Remember, Chris has made it possible now that basically the Doctor can, Time Lords can regenerate infinitely now. So if he keeps that part of it, well then if Shooty does leave after, say, one season or maybe 2 seasons, it won't matter because you won't have the 13th regeneration rule in the way anymore. So we've got to wait and see what happens here, because if he's going to go back to the normal rules, right, which is, after 13, that's it, then we have to find a way of trying to fix like what Moffat did.
I truly think
or is he going to keep the part of the timeless children now? Because see, this is the thing now. We've got to think this through, really. Will he keep the timeless children stuff and actually now it doesn't matter. We do now have unlimited regeneration. So an actor doesn't have to necessarily get bogged down for 3 years anymore now. We can bring in the actor that's hot at that moment in time and replace the one that we have, not a bother. You know what I mean? Maybe there's something behind that. Maybe I'm just speculating, obviously. But
well, I think there is a third option. He just doesn't even deal with it. He just moves on. We don't even listen about it. Nothing about the timeless children. Nothing about regenerations. He just moves Shooty on to another direction, and we just follow Shooty in that direction wherever he goes. And we might. There's no way we can avoid the Time Lords or what goes on. But this is kind of like that Chinese whisper. We just don't. It just moves on and on and on.
Yeah.
We hear it occasionally, but the story changes every time. So Chib's kind of left that open, but I don't want that open. I'm just leaving it in the past. That's something the Master came up with to try to F with the Doctor.
Personally, I'm with everybody in the chat and you. If Shooty is great playing the Doctor, then I do think that the powers that be should try everything to keep him as long as people enjoys Doctor and it doesn't become stale. Because you can have an actor in the role for too long and then finally say, oh, do you know what, it's getting a bit, we probably need something new here, right? But as long as he wants to do it, I think, and if he's great in the role, let him, you know what I mean? But I reckon Shooty is one of these actors, he's got a great CV. He's done some great stuff. He's won awards already. I think he'll do Doctor Who. It'll be nice to have that on the CV as well. But you can tell that he actually loves doing what he's doing, which is the difference, I think, between him and Whittaker. But I think when he believes that he's done all he can with it, I reckon he'll just move on to pastures new. And there's nothing wrong with that. I wish him the best. But we'll see what happens. I'm only speculating. But listen, we have come to the end of our time today. We're just on the 59-minute mark there now. But we are back, remember, at 9 o'clock tonight for the Tardis. Oh, jeez.
Oh, you showed me some pictures, dude.
For Friday night contact. What?
You owe me some pictures, dude.
I owe you some pictures?
Yeah, you were going to show some of the pictures.
Yeah, but you actually wrote in the private chat 2 minutes, so do you want me to stick up there so we got
I will stay for, I can stay for, I'm still loading up, so I'll stick around for a minute or two if you want to.
Right, hold on. We did promise you pictures, but he did say 2 minutes, so I'm not getting the blame for that.
I meant 2 minutes because I have to move over, but I meant I still got the microphone and everything running, so.
Right, well, let's I'm getting up Facebook now, so just bear with me for a second.
No problem.
Anyway, while I'm doing that, you do your shout outs anyway.
Got it. Well, May 19th from last week, we celebrated our 11th anniversary as being a social media platform. That was cool. And Noel will be showing a few pictures up here in just a moment out there. Also, nice little 11th birthday present from the Traveling Tardis. We've now crossed into 68,000 Facebook followers, I should say. And that was nice to cross that finish line. So I want to thank everybody who supports us, who's been with us from day one, to everybody who joins in now. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been a fun ride. Are there things I would change? Yep. But there's things that I have a wonderful team of podcasters, a wonderful family of convention people. Chrissy takes care of things on the backside of things. And, I got friends like Noel and Dan Hadley and the Rabbi and all these people who've been so wonderful to help out and become part of the legend. So I want to thank everyone, especially folks in the chats. If you haven't subscribed yet, by all means, we welcome you and check it out. We put out a video of the day. It's just usually a short, about 15 seconds long. If you want to have a nice little laugh or something fun with. YouTube.com/The Legend of the Traveling Tardis. Subscribe. Noel's got a first picture up there, and I love that because every celebrity I go up with, people really don't know what to do with the TARDIS, even Doctor Who actors. And I did the same thing with Jenna. I said, Jenna, she goes, what do you want me to do with this? I said, Jenna, you do your thing. And that's what she pulled up with. And I swear to you, if I had like a half a hand, I would have nailed it to the TARDIS and just let her play with it. Yep, mother and daughter from a MegaCon convention. They were together, and that's one of the more popular pictures that I have in our lineup as far as Traveling TARDIS. But if you go, there's actually something called Friends of the Traveling TARDIS, and it's all the celebrities. I think we're up to like 150 now. I really haven't. A second.
We just glitched there. You just keep talking. I'm going to put the pictures back up again.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
We just glitched there, but yeah, I do like that. Karen Gillan. She's so young in that one as well, isn't she?
Yeah, she was. She was. I think that's got to be like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, she's a baby in that one. Anyway, here we go. Should be able to throw this back up. Sorry about that. I went to click on the next photo and the bleeding thing came down. So,
and what I love about the Traveling TARDIS now is the icon, the piece of metal. All this started. Yeah, that's the day of the Traveling TARDIS. We fictionally named for May 19th to celebrate every anniversary of the Traveling TARDIS. So we're on our 11th year. This is the last picture I took with Nichelle Nichols, and I actually memed it. And I said, come with me, Nichelle, one more time around the universe. And she remembered it because I took a picture with her years ago at Florida SuperCon, and I think she managed to make it at MegaCon. And they had the Star Trek booth up there where you could take pictures inside the actual original series booth. And she was there, and I just walked up to the TARDIS. She goes, oh, I remember this. And I said, yeah. And I said, can I take your picture one more time? And as soon as she had supposedly declared that she wasn't going to do conventions anymore, I created the meme, and then as soon as she passed, I put the meme out, and everybody thought it was a very nice remembrance for her. And yeah, there we go. That's our logo celebrating 11 years of traveling. And it all started with a piece of metal. Now, we joined forces with a group called Dalek Hal, and the person who runs it will hate me because I keep getting the name wrong, but it's Daleks of Orozco. You can just look up facebook.com/Dalek Hal, Hal. And Dalek Hal has been a nice little feature because now we take a Dalek on the road who interacts with people. And Dan, who is a good friend of mine, who is the owner of Dalek Hal, he loves going out, and he just we'll go to a mall, or we'll go to like a convention light or something of that nature, and he will just have fun with the kids. It's just so much fun to watch him. And that is Pensacon, and John Barrowman's there. And then, I'll take my TARDIS and put up the pictures, but that's the whole idea, is for it to sometimes cross over and be silly and just have some fun. But, yeah, that's from Caddyshack. That's in St. Augustine. John Cleese. That's at the last MegaCon. John Cleese was there and took the picture. He was sitting at the table, and his family was there. And they told me, you better not sell this on. I'm like, no, I'm going to sell. I had to show the family, listen, this is what I do for kind of a living, and showed him all the celebrity photos. And he was sitting down. He was holding it at first. And I said, John, really, you're going to hold the TARDIS? And he put the TARDIS down and did that pose. And I said, yes, this is worth it. That's my friend Faith Kelly. She is our 13th cosplayer. She loves Jodie. Just simply loves Jodie, and this is the rare time you'll ever see me cosplay at a convention. And I did the 7th Doctor. I still have the umbrella and the jacket. This is just to show you how big the facility is. No, that was before anything was even loaded. Look how it's like 2 runways put together, just massive.
Nice one.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd.
The TARDIS. Oh,
you might be a doctor, but you might be the doctor, but I'm a doctor. That's how I quoted it out there. So Doc Brown got to hold the time traveling component there.
2 of my favorite docs, Doctor Who and Doc Brown.
Doc Brown. Yeah. This one.
Oh, yes.
This one, I was just like, yeah, it's so cool, and it's the Riddler holding the TARDIS against Batman and Robin.
That's actually very good.
And just taunting them, and he was just like, the Riddler came up with the idea of hanging his umbrella so he looked like he was hanging from the ceiling. 2 of my friends, Amelia Poole, I think she got married recently, and I forgot what her last name is, but 2 different versions of Harley Quinn. I said, just go after the TARDIS, and one Harley Quinn jumped on the other, and that's how that picture came out. But it's just amazing. And that's my friend, T.R. Hibbard. He passed away a couple of years ago. And he was, at that time, our 4th Doctor cosplayer. The man was a spitting image. And he had a heart of gold. I mean, when you say that person was the kindest person I've ever met, T.R. was it. T.R. is the man. It's just like he never had an enemy. He just didn't even care. You know, the little politics aside that we have every now and then that we talk about, he didn't care. He just wanted to take your picture, and people would, and it drove me nuts too because he would love to go to our panels, and he would show up late because we would walk across the hall and everybody stopped him, and he would show up 10 minutes late and he would apologize to me at the end. And he goes, "Dude, I understand. I'm not even fronting. I know your deal." The Book of Moffat. I was just being silly. All my friends are dead. This is the team: Nisha Mulchin, Melanie Dean. Going up to the right, Mark Muncy, who runs Erie, Florida. Dalek Howell's in the back, and I'm further in the back out there while COVID restrictions are still going on at MegaCon. That's one of our panels that we had. This was the last Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure at Halloween Horror Nights. And for once, you got to actually take pictures with Bill and Ted, and they were outside. And I just gave them the TARDIS. They posed. That's what we came up with. And I love it when somebody... Oh, yes.
Of course, we have to have Paul.
MegaCon invited me. I got the rare privilege of hosting at MegaCon a Doctor Who celebrity. Honestly, because the team said, we don't know this guy. Can you help us? I was like, what? So I got to host him, and I was taking a picture. That's why we're seated to his right. But if you notice, it was... he has the mouse ears on. He has the Mickey Mouse ears. I said, I'm treating you like a Floridian. Plus, it was his birthday the previous week. So if you notice in the back behind the microphone, that's actually a birthday cake that we got him. And so we're going to celebrate you. Krampus with Dalek Ren, who's the other one of Dalek Orovskov. And I'm getting it wrong, Dan. With the little Santa hat. This was around Christmas time. Universal's Jurassic Park.
Nice.
But this is, I just love it when I can interplay.
No, that's deadly there is, because I've just noticed it. I was like, okay, dinosaurs, and then I've just noticed the TARDIS there in the background.
It's just fun to just, play with the ideas of multiverse every now and then, because people will go like, oh, you did this. Gary, Nerdronic.
Yeah, one day I'll get to meet you all.
He's a sweet guy. Fortunately, he had to do that too.
Typical.
Yeah, let me get one more picture, and he goes like that, and like, thanks, Gary. Really?
Yeah, he's like me. He's like me. He's very bitter towards BBC right now. That night, the time this child broke the 2 of us, actually.
I don't blame him.
he even reacted to my reaction. I mean, it was mad. I just broke down. I was
I couldn't even
devastated.
read it. We were talking about it. That was the first episode I could not even read. I said, I'm so pissed off right now. I don't even, I wanted to give a clear, unemotional response. I want to try to
but you could not. But that's the thing. That I wanted to do that too, right? And I swore even before, because you'll hear me, I'm pretty at the start of the stream. I'm very composed.
Get my name wrong.
I'm very composed, but as soon as I start talking about what unfolded in the episode, I just cracked and I lost it.
Well, we'll do a couple more pictures. Yeah, the guys over at Geeks and Gamers brought Gary in Orlando, and
of course, Chris.
Oh, she done. No, I did. I had nothing to do with that. She just grabbed the TARDIS, put it in her.
Of course, she did.
And that was.
Did you ever see her videos, man? Some of her videos are funny. I have to say, she's not as funny as people make her out to be, but she is funny.
And Odin.
Isn't that C3PO or whatever his name is?
Drunken 3PO.
Yeah, he's friends with what's her name? Feckin' one that was sacked from.
Gina Carano, yeah.
Yeah, he's friends with Gina Carano. They look like they have a cute little friendship as well. It's actually good to see. But a fan, and an artist like that, it's actually nice to see. It can't happen.
I got to run, but Odin, yeah, he does movies over there for Geeks and Gamers. But there's quite a few more pictures. There's thousands. I've lost count. And there are things from Halloween to Christmas to just random stuff to a bunch of celebrities getting together, and mostly just cosplayers, because somebody told me, a couple people told me actually, that they love the idea of the TARDIS itself because they have a connection to now everybody who's come in touch with it. And it kind of unites the geekdom instead of divides them. And when I heard that, I'm like, Jesus, that really hit to the heart. That this little piece of metal that I bought 11 years ago, just as a kind of a hobby running gag, is now something that people appreciate because it brings them together. And that's what we're all about, dude. I got to run. I got to talk to you later, brother. And you guys take care of yourselves.
Anyway, because I'm bleeding. Got another stream at 9.
Got it. See you guys.
But thanks for coming on. I'll see you on Tuesdays now. So yeah, as I said, just to remind everybody, Mondays is the Tardis Zone discussion with PD Rich and Queen Charlotte when they're both available, of course, because working and studies can get in the way, but that is the plan. Tuesday, as the Tardis Zone talks now with Christian from the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, and that'll be every Tuesday now. So this was the last one that was on a Friday. And then on Wednesday, we have the Chill stream with Queen Charlotte again and PD Rich at 7. And then on Friday, we have Friday Night Contact preview stream for you members. Times will vary on that one, but they will be in the afternoon. And then, of course, 9 o'clock every Friday night, the main stream, Friday Night Contact, where we talk things all Hollywood. And on tonight's stream, just to give you a quick peek of what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about Tina Turner. As you know, Tina Turner just recently passed away, but there's some people in the media that have now used Tina Turner's death as a propaganda, to get their propaganda out, and I find it quite disgusting. We'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about Disney's Little Mermaid as well. Apparently, it's been highly acclaimed, better than Beauty and the Beast in 2017. Apparently, we've also got the poster from the Little Mermaid from China, and we've also got the American poster side by side. And I want you guys to tell me what is wrong with the China poster. Of course, we all know China has censored posters in the past. They have struck again. We have some Ghostbusters news to talk about as well. We did a members stream on that today where I was discussing what I thought about the upcoming sequel to Afterlife. So if you're a member and you want to hear my opinion on it, go and check it out. If you're not, there are 2 tiers to become a member. Choose the tier what's best for you and your price range, and go and check those member streams out. We'll also be talking Terminator. James Cameron talking about another Terminator movie. We'll be talking a little bit about the MCU, but not much. There's only a little bit of news on the MCU, and we've got all the usual other stuff that we will be talking about as well. We've got loads coming for you. But unfortunately, just before we do leave, so do you remember last week I showed you a couple of clips that fans had put together? Well, the Arnold one where he was singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow was copyrighted by YouTube. So unfortunately, right, and here's the thing, the Pingu one wasn't touched, the one that was ripping off the movie The Thing, right? But the one that was ripping off Somewhere Over the Rainbow, right, it wasn't even what's her name? Julie Garland singing the bleeding song, right? It was Arnold singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and YouTube's copyright striked it. So I won't be able to show any clips because we wanted to do something a little bit different. But if the channel was a bit bigger, I'd be able to do it, because obviously we'd have a lot more streaming traffic coming through, but we don't. So unfortunately we can't show any more clips, is what I'm trying to say to you, which has actually annoyed me a little bit, because we plugged that channel, that TikTok, and all we did, we put it in the link description, and again, YouTube's own terms and services say that you can't put up someone's original work unless you do comment, and that's exactly what we did. We did the commentary as well, and it's an actual rip-off of someone else's original work. So YouTube was broken in that aspect. So unfortunately, we can't show you any more clips like that. And I wanted to bring something different, because you all enjoyed those clips. As far as I'm aware, everybody really liked the Pingu one, and they did like that one. And I wanted to break it up a little bit, so we weren't talking all the time, and give you something to watch. So, I'm going to have to start coming up with ideas myself. If I knew how to animate, I'd come up with my own little 2-minute animations for each kind of little break, just to break up the streams. But there you go. You can't have everything you want anyway. Beauty and the Beast was that bad. I didn't watch the updated version of Beauty and the Beast, but I had what's her face in it, a woman that was in Harry Potter. Emily, is it Emily Watson? Is that her name? Is that her name? No. Is that her name? Yeah. She was in it. I haven't watched Beauty. Listen, I don't even like the animated version of Beauty and the Beast. It's one of the Disney movies that I actually don't like. So I can't judge it. But apparently that movie was highly acclaimed or something. And now apparently the Little Mermaid, Emma Watson, there you go. Emma Watson, that's the one. I keep getting mixed up. Why do I always get mixed up between those two, even though one's older than the other? Anyway, yeah, so apparently that was highly acclaimed back then in 2017, and apparently Disney's Little Mermaid, the one that's out now, that apparently has an Antifa song in it, is highly acclaimed. The funny thing is that they still haven't shown the audience scores, which is weird, because I think the movie is out now or something. But we'll be talking a little bit about Little Mermaid, and we'll be also showing you the posters from America and China, and we're going to ask, spot the difference, and you'll spot the difference. The Tardis YouTube channel, sarcasm is wasted on you, my friend. Beauty and the Beast was that bad. Alright, you are being sarcastic. Okay. Yeah, I don't do sarcasm, as you know. I'm one of those people, actually. I'm a bit like Sheldon Cooper in that regard. Yeah, I'll admit it. Sometimes I don't get sarcasm, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm oblivious to everything anyway. Don't really give a crap. But I'll explain it later. He says, I'm pretty sure you will anyway. PD will be joining us, as you know, along with Lee tonight. Actually, I better make sure that I'm pretty sure Lee. Yeah, he did. He was in the chat during the week, wasn't he? He said he'd be here. So to be myself, PD, and Lee will be discussing all of these things, and then I'll find out what I missed from PD Rich later on. As I said, I'm a bit like Sheldon Cooper when it comes to sarcasm. I'm oblivious to it. So yeah, 9 o'clock tonight, guys. Come and join me. As I said, Ghostbusters Afterlife, the sequel news, and plenty of other news to come as well. So we'll leave it there for now. I'm going to rest the voice now. And I will talk to you at 9 o'clock. Well, I'm off now to get ready for the next stream now and get that up, and then write me a little scroll bar. And so I'm not even like taking a break. I'm like literally, when I'm finished here, I'm back on StreamYard to get the next one ready. Last week I was actually clever and I got everything done. Right, this week I haven't been able to get everything up. I had all the 3 streams up and all last week for everybody. This week I've put them up one by one, because I've had to, in between that, I've had to cook the dinner as well. So we had a nice dinner and everything. So now I'm going to, well, I say chill, but I'm going to set up the other stream now. So I'll talk to you soon. Thanks to everybody. PD as well. We have PD in the chat, and we had who else had we got in the chat? We had Jamie in the chat as well. JWC Reviews, Bobby D75 Legend on Twitter. If you don't follow Bobby D on Twitter, you should follow Bobby D on Twitter. He's a great character. Always has me back as well, actually, I have to say. Nice chap. So yeah, go and check him out on Twitter. JWC Reviews as well. And as I said, about to leave now. Yes? Oh, you okay. I thought you were talking to me. No. Okay. Yeah, right. Anyway, I'll see you later. Have a good one. I'll see you back here at 9 o'clock. I'll throw that stream up now in a few minutes. So if you just want to go in and have it ready, or set the notification, please do. And I'll see you here with Lee and PD later on at 9 o'clock. I'll see you later, folks. Bye-bye.